Hey everyone, I'm Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and welcome to a channel update. Okay, it has been quite a while since I made one. I think I made one in, was it March? February? March? I can't remember. But it was a long time ago, and yeah, I haven't made one since. But having said that, Danganronpa is finally complete, with the exception of Danganronpa S. So I may get to that one day. I don't know. I've said it a few times. I think I will eventually do it at some point, but it's not going to be for a while. Like, I'm not going to do it as in like how I did it recently, or how I did it with the other Danganronpa games, where I tried to do basically one of them a year for like, what was it, 4 years or something like that. So if I get to it, I'll get to it. Exciting news. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth new trailer. Yay! Oh my god, I'm so excited. It's so cool. I'm actually recording this less than 3 hours before you guys will see it. And I actually meant to record it yesterday, but I ran out of time. But there was a trailer for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is like another one, and it was awesome. I can't even like describe how incredibly good that trailer was. They absolutely nailed it, and I'm so excited to play. It's going to be incredible. I don't know why, but I just have this feeling that this may be Square Enix's best-selling game to date. Like this could do massive numbers, and it would be really nice to see that. It's incredible. If you haven't seen my remake playthrough, go watch that, because it's worth getting the build up of the first part and then going into Rebirth. It's also worth it to watch the original game as well. I've done the original game, and I've done the remake, and you know what? I couldn't be more happy to play a game. Like, when you're a gamer, there's this thing where it's like, well, especially a gamer who likes to play like a lot of different things, there's, you can't get around to everything. But as you continue to live, like, and time passes, sometimes you'll find some time. You'll be like, you know what, now's the time to go back to that game that I've never played. And Final Fantasy VII, I'm so glad that I got to it when I did in like 2020. And I was like, oh, cool, now I get to play the original, experience everything that the original has to offer, and then play the remake and really get all of that context and nuance that is provided when you play the original game. So I'm so happy that I got to do that. And I love the remake, and it was basically a perfect game for me, and I just can't wait to see what they do with Rebirth, because there's just so much. There's going to be so much that they can do, so much still to look forward to with it, and yeah, I can't wait for the end of the year when we'll likely get another trailer at the Game Awards or something like that. I don't know, we'll see. During that, that was from the PlayStation State of Play. The rest of it, was there anything else that happened in State of Play that was... Nah, nothing too special. I mean, like, Spider-Man 2 looks awesome. I don't think I'm gonna have time to play it, but it looks awesome, and I'm very happy for not Crystal Dynamics. What's their name? I can't remember. It's escaping me who makes that, but yeah. The next thing was the Nintendo Direct event that happened at the same time. And I was really looking forward to information, or more information, about the Professor Layton game. I don't know if I mentioned it last time. I don't think I did. But there's a new Professor Layton game coming, and that's exciting. I don't know if I've said this before, but Professor Layton, like, it's actually worth playing and for the story. There's a really cool, like, element of the story, and I don't want to say too much, but there's a story element to that game, which is like, oh, I wasn't really expecting that. I wasn't expecting it to be as, heavy on the story in that particular moment, which I thought was cool. Anyway, it's just my opinion. I thought it was cool. The Peach game, I actually forgot what it's called. I just wrote down the Peach game. The Peach game actually looked really cool. I was like, wow, they're doing a game revolving around Peach being the main character, which I think is the first time that's happened. I can't think of another game where Peach was the main character. But it looked really cool. I was like, wow, I would actually play this. Like, I'm not going to, but I would play it if I had the time. If I had infinite time, I would definitely play it. So last time I also talked about RE4 Remake, and I did end up purchasing it, and I played it, and I haven't finished it. I didn't get to finish it. I ran out of time. I was doing other stuff, and I was like, I don't have time to play it. It's just too much. What I was doing was I was making Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony, but I also said last time that I wanted to work on Tales of Symphonia Dawn of the New World, and I did try and do that, and I tried to get as far as I could. I played the whole game all the way through on New Game, and I completed it, and then I played the game again as a regular New Game, not as New Game Plus, because I wanted to do New Game. I wanted to like essentially make it efficient. Like I had written down a bunch of stuff and a bunch of notes, and I was like, all right, so now I want to learn. What did I do the first time? I think I focused mainly on the story and like building like a guide. And then the second time I was like focusing on like the combat aspects of the game and learning all the ins and outs of all that kind of stuff. And it worked. Like, don't get me wrong, it worked. I've got like a bunch of great notes and everything, but it's been like a few months since I played it, and I just haven't had the time to go back and continue it. So that's still on the back burner. I don't know when I'm going to get to it, or if I'm going to get to it. It sucks. It's just, games are so damn long. Wasn't it? I always do this. I say something and then I forget who. Schreier, the games journalist who I've literally not heard from in so long. Like, he's Jason Schreier, Kotaku, I think, right? And I think he had a tweet like many years ago. There's like, games are just too damn long, and it's like, yeah, they're really long nowadays. And I mean, like, the original Final Fantasy VII is a long game, but I don't know. It's just like, it's not even, well, it's definitely that they're too long, but it's also that there's just so much. There's so much that you want to play. So you really have to like pick and choose. I have to play this. I want to play this, so on and so forth. It's just tough. So I'm trying, and hopefully I get to that one day. I don't know. The next game that I'm going to be doing is Nioh 2. I hope people are happy about that. I know that people have been asking about it. I've seen comments like Nioh 2 waiting room, which is very funny. Thank you very much. And I'm being genuine there. That is genuinely funny. It's I am finally getting around to it. I know people have been waiting for it for a long time, so I'm finally getting around to it. It won't be tomorrow though, and to be honest, it might not be for a week, possibly even two. I'm just like absolutely so busy. I will give you kind of an update on like how that's going. I have finished the game for the most part, like with the exception of the DLC. I played the game from beginning to end, and I completed all the missions. Is it all? I completed all the missions with like one or two exceptions, because I didn't know that you had to do a certain thing in order to unlock all the missions. So I'm working on that now. My sort of like first impressions of the game, or well, yeah, I could give kind of a mini review. It's amazing. It's actually like really good. It makes me feel not quite the same, but it is similar. It makes me feel it's the same thing with like God of War and God of War Ragnarok. I loved God of War, and I really like God of War Ragnarok, and they added a whole bunch of extra stuff, and it's really cool. But for some reason, I still like the first game more, and it's the same thing with Nioh. I still like the original Nioh way more. Although, having said that, there's a lot of stuff that they added to Nioh 2 that I was like, oh wow, you actually kind of did it. Like, you managed to evolve the combat, you managed to add a new mechanic, or a few new mechanics, and a crazy amount of weapons. There's like 10 weapons now. There's all the weapons from the first game, plus like another 5 weapons. I think it's 5. And I've literally, to sort of give you an idea, I only played with the sword the whole way through. I didn't even really like use any of the new weapons, because I was like, I want to use my knowledge of Nioh to sort of get used to the sword and get used to like what are the different mechanics. And so I did that throughout the whole game. I was like, okay, now I'm like sort of following, I'm understanding what to do. And then I was going to switch weapons. And I have, like yesterday, I switched to the dual swords for a little bit, just to see how that went. And the dual swords are pretty cool. I feel like, I don't know if I'm like not looking at the skill tree correctly, but I feel like there's a lot of I'm probably not looking at it correctly. I feel like there's a lot of moves that the dual swords had in Nioh 1 that are not present in Nioh 2, but I'm probably just looking at it wrong. I'll probably be playing a bit more later today and trying to figure that out. So, but yeah, it's really great. It's really fun. It's when you've played Nioh 1, it makes it a lot easier to get into Nioh 2. And that's actually one big caveat. If you intend on playing Nioh, I cannot stress enough how much you should play Nioh 1 first, because there's a lot of foundational knowledge that exists in Nioh that doesn't exist, or that is harder to achieve, that makes it harder to achieve being good in Nioh 2. So I would absolutely recommend playing Nioh 1 first. Also, I like the story of Nioh 1 a lot more than I like the story of Nioh 2. Nioh 2 story is fine, it works and everything, but yeah, I like the story of Nioh 1. Although there's like the titles of the DLC, I think it's the last DLC, I won't say what the title is, I do know it, but I won't say it. I was like, this seems pretty cool, like this could be, really cool, so I'll get there at some point and find out what that's about. Okay, next. So I think last time I talked about the RE8 DLC. I did end up, and I probably said this last time too, I did end up playing that and I did complete it, but I made like a few small notes or whatever, but it's been so long and again, it's another thing that I just don't have enough time to get to it. It's crazy. It's just the days are just moving so fast and you only have so much time. And even if you like do everything, because I'm the kind of person that like, I don't sit still. Like I never, if I stop, if I'm like, you know what, I'm really tired, I don't feel like doing anything today, and I sit down on the couch, I'm on the couch for like 2 minutes and then I'm back up and I'm like, let's keep going. And it's not just like a hustle grind culture thing. It's just me. Like I can't stop it. I have to be doing something. It's the modern era. It's how it is. I remember, this is like completely off topic, but I remember like I was watching Joe Rogan and Mark Norman, the comedian, was on, and it was like, this was an old one. And he pointed out, he pointed out this really interesting sort of idea. He was like, do you know how much time do you know how different it is to be living in this time versus like the 80s or the 70s or the 60s and all that kind of stuff? And especially being like, Mark Norman's a bit older than me, he's like almost 40, but he was saying like, imagine being like 30 in like 1980. I don't know if he specifically talked about the age, but imagine being 30 in like 1980. And then one thing he said was like, imagine if you're sending a letter to someone, like how long that takes to send a letter. First, you got to get some paper. Then you got to get a pencil or a pen. Then you got to write out the whole letter on several different bits of paper. Then you got to fold that all together, get an envelope, put that in the envelope, seal the envelope, go to the post office, buy a like $1, $3, $5 stamp, whatever it is, slap it on the envelope, and then give it to put it in a mailbox. Then it takes like a week to get to the person on the other side of the world. Then they read it, and it's like all of that can be accomplished by like sending an email now. Like you're on the toilet and you're like just typing an email and it's like bang, sent an email. Okay, pen pal. Like I'm not writing pen pal emails on the toilet, but you know what I mean. And I was like, that's like, it's something I had thought of, but he gave an example and it was like, that is kind of crazy. And so it's like, we do have so much more time nowadays because everything has been so efficientized. That's probably not a word, but it's like everything's been made so much more efficient that you can do more, like way more stuff than you did in the past. Like one of the other things is I do that when I watch like YouTube videos, I pretty much watch everything, like depending on what it is and how hard I need to concentrate, I will use the speed options. If I'm watching like a stream, I'll watch it 2 times speed. If I'm watching like a video where I'm like, if it's like a comedy video or something like that, I'll be like, I can watch this at like 1.5. If it's something where I need to, like if I'm watching Veritasium or Vsauce, it'll be like a 1.25, when Vsauce uploads once every 6 months. But yeah, I'll watch it at like a bit of a slower speed. So I do that because like I mentioned that to someone ages ago and they were like, I don't do that at all because I like to enjoy what I'm watching. It's like, I'm still enjoying it. I'm still understanding it. I'm just doing it faster so that I have more time to do more stuff. So, when I say like there's not enough time, like I'm legitimately doing everything possible to try and put as much time and effort into it as I possibly can. Okay, I'm just going to scroll here. Just beg my pardon. Oh, you know what's cool? So during this period, I did actually have some time to play some stuff for myself for once. I have no idea how that happened, but I did. Going from I don't have enough time to I had enough time to play for myself. I have to play something for myself. Like I have to give myself like a little bit of a reward every so often, because I can't just be like, when I said I don't stop, it's like, it's not that I don't stop working. It's that like I just don't stop, like whether it be work or for fun or whatever. But I did end up playing a lot and or playing a bit. And one of the games I played was Slay the Spire. Now I didn't realize that Slay the Spire came out in like 2018. That's so long ago. I was like, what? 2018? That's crazy. I love Slay the Spire. It's really great. I'm like sort of like decently into card games. Like I played Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid. I played a little bit of Magic the Gathering as a kid. I really like card games, and Slay the Spire is incredible. It's just such a fun game, and it's like you can kind of, especially because like with the way the cards work and the effects, they're so specific and so fun that you kind of start looking at it and you're like, this, you could literally do anything. Like there are seeds for the game, so you can have like specific decks. I think is it decks? I don't even know what the seed would do. Maybe the seed is based on like what you encounter in terms of like monsters and chests and all that kind of treasures, all that kind of stuff. So, but you could literally do like anything. It would be crazy. Yeah, it's a great game. Also, you know what? I was like hesitant to mention this, but I'm going to mention it because I want an answer, and maybe someone actually knows the answer. So, don't tell Sony, but I got Slay the Spire for free. And you might be going, what do you mean? And I'll explain. So I have PlayStation Plus is divided into 3 or 4 tiers, and I have the lowest tier because there's no reason for me to have the upper tiers. The things that they provide on the upper tiers, I don't have enough time to even enjoy if I wanted it. So I have the lowest tier, which I think is just called PlayStation Plus Essential. On Essential, you get some free games every month, and you can own them as long as you're a PS Plus member. I think it's the next tier up above that is called PlayStation Plus Extra, and they put some extra games there, and you can play and purchase those for free. And then I think it's the same thing. It's like you get to keep them as long as you're a member of PS Plus. Slay the Spire was available on PlayStation Plus Extra, and I only had the Essential tier. But for some reason, I went there and I was like, you know what? Let me go see how much Slay the Spire is because I wanted to play it. And I was like, oh, here we go. It's available on Extra. And it just had like download there. And I was like, what? I was like, why can I download this? And I was like, okay, download. And then it started downloading, and then it worked. Like it finished downloading. Then I launched it and it worked. And I was like, what? I was like, okay, maybe they only gave me like one license. Maybe I can't play it on my main account because I was playing it on a side account. I was like, maybe I can't play it on my main account. So I just clicked it on my main account. It worked. And then I deleted it because the only things I really play on my main account now are like games that I do for the channel because I know that I'm going to get 100%. And even though I don't have 100% on my main profile, I have like 97%, and I kind of don't want to squander that. So that's why I do that. But I was like, I clicked on my main account, it loaded the trophies, it loaded the game and everything like that. And because I hadn't earned a trophy, I was like, all right, I'm just going to delete it so I don't have the trophy, 0% on my profile. But it worked. Can anyone tell me like what happened? Did I just get lucky? Like, I don't understand. Like, I just did it one night and I was like, that should not have worked. I don't think I'm thinking about this wrong, and I'm definitely not misremembering this. Like, I wouldn't have the game, and it only happened like, I don't know, 4 months ago or something like that. But I don't know what happened. So I think I just got lucky. Like, I don't understand. It could have definitely been like a thing where I got lucky in the sense that the way that the store is coded. And they just kind of, because isn't every so often someone will like tweet and be like, oh my God, go on PlayStation Store right now. This is for free. And it's like, really? It's like, what do you mean? So I think it might have just been that, but I don't know. Don't know what happened. The other thing that I got to play, I was kind of surprised, was, it's right here, the Switch. I got to play Etrian Odyssey II on the HD collection. I talked about that actually last time when I gave you guys a question. I said, what game have you played but like never finished? And one of mine was Etrian Odyssey 2. I just could never finish the game. Couldn't understand there was like an enemy. Well, I did like beat the boss, you know, like sort of the quote unquote final boss, but then there was like a super secret boss that you can fight beyond that, and I didn't get to that. I actually beat the final boss, and I was working my way to the super secret boss, but then there was this random enemy who just had the perfect like resistances to everything that my party could do, and I just wasn't able to get past. So I think it was earlier this year, I ended up watching someone play Etrian Odyssey 2 because I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm ever going to finish this. I just want to see what the last boss looks like. I want to see like what the last floors look like and all this kind of stuff. So I watched someone play it, and I was watching their sort of strategy, and I was like, oh, I almost stumbled into the correct strategy anyway. So when Etrian Odyssey came out, I was like, screw it. It's like $100 or whatever for the trilogy, a little over $100. I'm just going to buy it, and I'm just going to let it sit there. And if I get to it, I get to it. And if I don't, I don't. And then I kind of sort of thought about it, and I was like, all right, I'm going to play this like sort of maybe an hour before I go to bed. So I typically I play, you know, until sort of like 9:30ish when I come home from work. And, you know, do a bunch of stuff first, and then I start playing around 8 o'clock or whatever, and I get to like 9:30, and I was like, all right, I'm going to stop, get ready for bed, and I'll just play that for 30 minutes to an hour. And I generally only get like 30 minutes out of it anyway, because as soon as you stop at 9:30 and then you do all your stuff, it's it's 10 o'clock already, like fantastic. But I have played like 30 hours, and I did get decently far, and I was only using my memory of like what his strategy was. And what's hilarious is that one of the only things I did wrong was there was one skill, and I'll mention it because it's such a gamer like nerd thing, and at least I hope I can make it understandable for people who haven't played the game. There was one class in the game called a Hexer, and I did have a Hexer, and a Hexer is there is one class in the game called a Hexer, and a Hexer is very powerful, and it has this ability called Revenge, and I never used Revenge. And the way Revenge works is it takes the difference between your max HP and your current HP, and then adds like a multiplier of some sort, and then deals that as damage. And the higher your max HP and the lower your current HP, the more damage you get. And so it's a high risk, high reward thing, but with the way the game works, you can almost mitigate the risks entirely. Or even if you don't mitigate the risks, even if your Hexa dies, the amount of damage output that gets delivered to the enemy is so bombastically high that it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Like you can, there are these things called foes, FOEs. I think it's like flying over enemies or something like that. And you're not really supposed to defeat them on your first visit. When you get to like a new floor, you're not really supposed to be able to beat them. But at the very start of the game, you pretty much can't. You don't have enough tools in your arsenal to kind of actually pull it off. But later on in the game, when you have a lot more tools, and especially when you have Revenge, you can run into these foes. They do a lot of damage. You can take a few hits from them, but they will like decimate your party eventually. But if you use Revenge, bang, everything just dies. Like it's the amount of damage output is just ridiculous. So that's pretty much the only thing I think I was missing, and now I'm sort of in piecemealing it for the past 4 months or so. I don't know how long when was it? July. So it can't have only been 2 months. It had to have been June. I can't remember, but it can't only have been 2 or 3 months. But I've been playing it very, very like every so often. I didn't even play it any this week. Maybe I can play next week, but yeah. Anyway, I'm happy that I got to play it because I have been mainly focusing on Nioh 2 and YouTube videos and all that, but every so often I'll just dabble in that. So that's cool. All right, and the last thing, it's a bit of a more like a sad note. Not sad, but it's just something that like I wanted to talk about. I've been going okay recently. I'm like fine. I'm not like ecstatic, but I'm not like depressed either, which is, you know, how most people are, I guess. But I am a little bit disappointed with the lack of the growth in the channel. I'm like, as of recording this video, I could check it right now, but it's okay. I think I'm like 41 subscribers away from 7,000. And I've been at 6,900 and 7,000 for a little over 3 months now. And the last 100 that I got was basically, it took that time. It was like 6,800 to 6,900 took like 3 months and 2 weeks or something. And I think this one is going to take longer. And I just don't know, like, what, like, I feel like my growth has just peaked, you know, there's not really much else I can do. I spent a lot of time thinking about like ideas and how to garner more interest in the channel and whether I actually want to do that. And, because I'm always looking at the subscriber growth, and I'm just like, oh, there goes another one. There goes I've lost like a tremendous amount of subscribers. I think that's actually one bigger thing. There's like a lot of subscribers, and I don't know if they're bots or real people or whatever, but there's just so many people that have unsubscribed within the past like 2 years that the amount of growth that I've seen has been largely negligible because of all those, because of that gigantic loss. So, I might get like 3 subscribers all in one go, but then the next day I'll lose like 5. And I'm like, well, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And I don't know. It's very, I guess there's like a lot of reasons that people focus more on different content. People are like focusing more on like, I don't know, maybe it was like the whole COVID thing. It was like people started to realize and be more self-aware about like what they actually wanted to spend time on. And so, naturally through the course of what a person's interested in, they just kind of go, okay, I'm interested in this, but I'm not as interested in this as I am in this. And so we'll get rid of this. So I don't know. And it could be like a billion reasons, but yeah, it's one of those things. It does suck because it's like, I'm also an advocate of like, if you build it, they will come. And like YouTube is not really luck based. It's like, depending on how good your content is, like if you make good content, people will find you. And it's like my content, it's like, I think it's okay. I think every so often, like I really enjoyed doing Danganronpa V3. I loved doing the voices. I loved like trying to notice myself getting better at the voices, sometimes flubbing it here and there. I would do some of the voices and I'd be like, man, I flubbed that one. But other times I'll be like, nailed it. Like I think sorry if that was loud. Like I think I nailed it. And but I think, I don't know, is it just like it's too much information to pass, right? It's, you got to watch this entire video to get like this tiny little glimmer of something like cool. And it's one of the reasons why like someone like Northern Lion, who I think I've mentioned before, but Northern Lion is this streamer. If you've never heard of him, he's like a year and a half older than me. He is like almost hands down the funniest, most intelligent person I've ever like had the pleasure of witnessing. You literally watch him, and I like watching him at 2 times speed because it's even funnier, because like he just rattles off like the most hilarious stuff in such an eloquent way without like umming and ahhing, and his comedic timing is perfect. He's incredible. It only really works for streams, but it's like he's just so funny and charismatic, and I'm just like, how do you do it? Like even I've been noticing myself, like this whole video I haven't really ummed and ahed, and I've been like one consistent train of thought, which is not easy to do, especially if you're being conscious of it. But he's just like incredible. He's absolutely incredible. And I notice myself when I'm doing my videos that sometimes I will and ah because I'm trying to be informative about what the game is that I'm doing. I'm also trying to be interesting, and I'm trying to be funny. So that is very difficult to get right in your head, like to just have this perfect stream. I don't know. It's very, very tough. But yeah, it just, I don't know. It sucks. It sucks when you try and put a lot of effort into something and it doesn't, you feel like you deserve more and you just don't get it. And I don't want to sound like I'm, being a jerk there or whatever, but it's just, I don't know, it's just how I feel. One thing that I did do was I actually did it yesterday when I had like a little bit of time, or I was like, you know what, I'm going to just try this. I made a short, my very first YouTube short. I haven't uploaded it yet. It's ready to upload. I haven't uploaded it. It's nothing fancy or bombastic. It was just it was a moment that happened in the remake playthrough where I kind of discovered a strategy by accident, and it was the most incredible strategy. And I was like, holy crap, like that's awesome. Like I really, really like love that moment. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try and clip that moment and make it a YouTube short. And I did, and ironically it was almost exactly like a minute in length, which I was like, oh, that works. And I didn't actually know how to do shorts. If you want to know how to do shorts, the video has to be less than a minute, and it has to be filmed vertically. And obviously I was just using the footage from the video. So all I did was I changed it from 1920 to 10 by 1080 to 1080 by 1920. So I flipped it like that, and it basically worked. I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know how shorts work. Like, I don't know how much reach they have. Sorry, I don't know. My everything's coming up now. Everything's coming up, Millhouse. No, I don't know how much reach shorts have, but I know that they're very popular, and some shorts get like crazy views. It's also, one cool thing that I realized was that a lot of shorts are actually edited properly before they get uploaded to YouTube, because a lot of shorts I've noticed like have massive like text subtitles on them and they keep flashing on the screen like this as the person says the thing, and that seems to get a lot of views. Again, my one, I didn't bother doing that, but it was just something that I was like, let me just see what happens, like see what it looks like. So I'll upload that at some point. I don't know. I'll publish that at some point, a little bit after this video probably. Another moment I thought of to do was, for those who haven't seen it, there was a moment in Arkham Knight. It's one of my oldest games that I did, but there was a moment in Arkham Knight where I was gliding. Excuse me, I was gliding, and I landed in like this zone that you had to fight like a bunch of goons in. Oh, goons! Sorry, every time. You had to fight a bunch of goons, and I think it was like R1. I'm pretty sure it was R1 or R2, but I think it was R1. R1 would call your Batmobile. And as I was gliding in, I pressed R1 on either the exact frame or like the exact couple frames, to where the game recognized my R1 press and also recognized that I was entering an area where I couldn't use the Batmobile. And that tiny little frame moment happened, and I managed to glitch the Batmobile into that area and just obliterated everyone. I got a very low score, but it just knocked out the challenge. And I was like, did I just glitch the Batmobile? And it's like, yep, I just glitched it. It was definitely not allowed to do that. Or you definitely weren't supposed to do that, is probably a better way to phrase that. But I did, and I was like, wow, that was crazy. I think it was episode 57. But here's the thing. If anyone has any ideas, or especially if you have like a moment that you enjoyed from my playthrough, of anything that I did, let me know, and I'll try and make a short. I don't know. We'll see how this short performs with regards to the Final Fantasy VII Remake one. Did I say it was from Remake? I think I did. Anyway, if I didn't, it's from Final Fantasy VII Remake. We'll see how that performs. Who knows? Maybe it'll just wiggle its way into some corner of the internet where nobody knows me, and it's like, hey, let's subscribe over here or whatever. As I said before, I'm only about 40 subscribers off 7,000. So if you're watching this and I don't know if I said this exactly before, but if I didn't, I'm saying it now. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please do. Just help me hit 7,000. It'll be just a nice number to look at, and I can go, yay, 7,000. And I'll be, I think, 3,000 subscribers away from getting, I think you get like a piece of paper or something like that. You get like a certificate for getting 10,000. So that would be nice. In regards to, so I'm almost done here, but in regards to, after Nioh 2, I haven't got anything planned at the moment. I'm sort of just like in this weird moment where I'm kind of like, I will get Nioh 2 done, and then we'll see what happens. I'm not like, I obviously don't want to stop doing the channel. And even if I did stop, I think I'd be like, all right, guys, I'm stopping doing the channel. And then like a week will go by and go, hey guys, I guess what? I don't want to stop doing the channel. So I don't know. It's very difficult. Also, things will be a little bit like extra delayed because I'm moving. So things are like going everywhere, and yeah, that's gonna take some time. So yeah, I'm kind of in a weird moment right now with my life, and I'm just trying to figure out what to do, and it's not easy. So yeah, it's just how it goes. But anyway, I don't want to end on that somber note. I'm still good. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm still fine for the most part, and things could be way worse. So I'm trying to count my blessings, and yeah, that's how it goes. All right. Well, I think I've gone on for long enough. Hope you guys enjoyed watching another podcast of myself, and you will see Nioh 2 starting up. Honestly, probably the week after next, if I had to say. So apologies for a little bit of a delay, but that's when it's gonna be. So I'll leave it at that. I want to thank everyone for sticking around, for those who have, for watching, for subscribing, for liking the videos. Like, one of the crazy things that I do see is, like, you know, I'll upload Danganronpa and within a minute it'll have a like and it won't even have a view. So yeah, thanks to those people who, like, just, they keep liking the videos every time, and it really does mean a lot. And it's yeah, it's awesome to have you guys around for it, because without you, nobody's anything. All right, then I'll leave things there. My name's Ultima456, you're the Ultimates, and I'll see you next time.